Big up, good people. Big up to all of you. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. I wholeheartedly offer whatever suits your time zone. I hope you're all doing well. Welcome to today's daily roundup show on Chelsea Perspective. Today we'll talk about the progress that the club has made with regards to building or maybe rebuilding Stamford Bridge. We'll talk about Victor Osimhen. We'll talk about Conor Gallagher, and we'll talk about the other Fofana, the attacker Fofana. But more importantly, I wholeheartedly offer whatever suits your time zone. I hope you're all doing well. Sit back, relax, and let's get into the show. Yes, good people. Big up to all of you. I hope you're all doing well. Once again, I appreciate you all finding the time to join the show. And here's a quick recap of what we will highlight of what we will discuss today. We'll discuss the news start, and we'll talk about Dacho Fofana. We'll talk about Conor Gallagher, Victor Osimhen, and all the news items that we have lined up. And chances are, as the show progresses, some of the stuff might come up that we would like to talk about. But more importantly, I appreciate you all joining the show. As usual, we keep it interactive here, so it's important to say hello to those of you who are in the chat already. We have Oseji Favor saying, beautiful stadium. I have to be honest to you, I just needed a new image to represent, you can say, the topic of the day. I'm not too sure whether the owners will still go with the plan that we've seen before, the one we did see under Roman Abramovich era. So I had to generate one myself, and yeah, that's not the stadium, but I think it will be state of the art. It will be beautiful, but we don't know how. We haven't seen it yet, to be honest with you. And we have a Bafola Life, Eba for life. Is that what you're saying there? Why buy in another land? Stay in Stamford Bridge. Let me explain something to you. The fact that the club has bought another land doesn't mean they're leaving, but they're still considering leaving for a better space, a space where they have enough. You could say to a place where they have enough space to build the sort of stadium they want to build. Yeah, they bought the space, an area close to Stamford Bridge to allow them, you can say, yeah, to enable them, you can say, build the sort of structure they want to build. If that makes sense. Nice updates from India. Nice to see you, Eba. I appreciate you finding the time to join. And if you haven't yet, please be sure to drop a like on the stream, and also do subscribe to the channel if you haven't. And quickly, I want to appeal to those of you who are watching, but for one reason or the other, you're not able to participate in the chat. Just know that we appreciate you. You watching alone does go a long way. But I want to appeal to you to please take a second to drop a like on the video for us. That would trigger the YouTube algorithm and get it to push the stream to more people who'd be interested in the topics we'll have lined up. But that's, by the way, I'm going to go to Jude. I'm going to go to a lot of people, Mesol, but I'm just going to call you Jude. Mesol. You remember that conversation? Very funny when you said Mesol, and I said, is that I asked you whether that's the correct way to pronounce it. But the question I have, just not a question yet. I'm sure you've seen, you've read stuff with regards to the new stadium project, or maybe stadium upgrade project. Let's hear you. What do you make of it? I can't hear you. I can't hear you. You need to get. I think you need to get closer to your microphone. Yeah, I cannot hear what you're saying, unfortunately. Let's see. Baffle Life says a cool, nice hearing from you as well. I understand your explanation. I appreciate you. I appreciate the fact that yeah, you understand what I've said already. Jude, let's hear you. Hopefully it's better now. All right, let's start looking at the items one by one. We'll talk about, we'll start with news items we'll have lined up. And the first one here talks about from Simon Felix, he's quoting Ben Jacobs and caught offside. Two, you can say, trusted sources, but I'm not suggesting you trust them with your life. Sometimes they do get it wrong. And it says Chelsea are interested in Victor Osimhen, and the January departure cannot be discounted. So if they're saying a January departure, then referencing you can say the report from the perspective of Napoli, the possibility of leaving Napoli is still there. I get it. He's put out a statement talking about how well he loves the people of Naples and how they love him and all that. Even Napoli, they had to release two statements. One, they didn't admit they made any mistake, and the other one, actually, even the second statement, yeah, they were did show that they're apologetic, but at the same time, nothing that shows they are taking responsibility to have for the mistake they made. But that's, by the way, so chances are Osimhen could still leave Napoli in January. Let's hear you. What do you make of this particular report, Judy? If you're there, hopefully your audio system is working well right now.
Yeah, good afternoon, Coach. Good afternoon, everyone. Can you hear me very well now?
Yeah, it sounds better right now.
Okay, yeah, thank you. Yeah, on the stadium, yeah, of course, definitely Chelsea deserves better than Stamford.
Yeah, let's start since I've skipped that one. Let's start with the stadium now, because we'll still come back to the stadium. We'll round off with the stadium discussion. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I think Osimhen should leave Napoli because the arrogance exhibited by the hierarchy of Napoli doesn't really show that they regard him. So, and I think
about a statement they released.
Yeah, I don't really trust that source for now because you know, when you get too agitated about this transfer, later you now realize that, oh, they're not even making any attempt. But I think Osimhen is actually the most likely striker that Chelsea can get, because Ivan Toney, Arsenal is interested. They said he likes Arsenal, he likes Liverpool, so we might not even be top on his agenda. But I think Osimhen will be much open to coming to Chelsea, because I've seen in the past him having some things to show that he follows Chelsea, like he's interested in Chelsea long before he became a big player. So I want to believe that. And then for Mikel to have said, "Oh, I spoke to him and I urged him to join Chelsea," yeah, they must have had a conversation in that light. So I think it's our best buy for now, because when you look at the way we miss chances, we shouldn't be looking at low profile strikers for now. We already have two in Broha and Jackson. These are guys that with potential to grow. So let's look at somebody that looks like he's already high up there, instead of bringing potential. We still have one on loan, Fofana. So we need a big striker. And we are talking about big striker after Erling Haaland right now. I think the next figure is Osimhen. If it's not
Let me ask
Osimhen,
you
then
this. You sound as if you're quite sure that he's the guy, he's the missing piece, as if we signed him all you can say the days of us creating 10 big chances and missing 10 big chances and missing 15 big chances. Let me just put it that way. That's how ridiculous it's become. You sounding as if we sign him, he solves that problem for us. But
uh,
how about the fact, do you think he's a sort of striker that you could argue or that will succeed under Mauricio Pochettino, given and the Z, because I feel like I know him. Apparently, I don't know him well enough. I've argued that Pochettino prefers the sort of striker who's capable of dropping deep, participating in the play, and capable of creating chances for his attacking pairings or partners, for lack of a better term. Do you think he's that guy? Let's hear you, Jude.
well, I think if Pochettino himself is learning lessons, he should know that sometimes a coach has to adjust himself to accommodate players. It's not all about the player. The player is not the one that should always be the one to do what the coach wants. The coach too should be able to bend. So if Pochettino is ready to accommodate him, forget about him being that guy. You have other people that can also do that dropping. You need goals, and I think he's somebody who knows where the net is. He has experience. He's very young. He's strong. He's good in converting area balls. So he might. I'm not really saying he's a solution, but I think I can trust him, because you can't really conclude that one person is a solution. But I think I can trust him, and I also believe that we don't really need an unknown name. We have three strikers already, if not more. So we need somebody that is proven. And when you take Erling Haaland in Europe at the moment, I think the next person after him should be Osimhen, in terms of the statistics and what they bring to the table.
Yeah, I totally understand what you're saying. By the manager has to also, you can say, make adjustment to accommodate a new sign. That's the truth. Because usually people don't consider what it takes for a player to bed in properly. I'm using Eddie's language here, or to or for a player to, you can say, settle in a very quick in. You can say start doing well, or hit the ground running, for lack of a better term. The point is, it goes both ways. It's not a straightforward thing. Once a player moves to a club, two things can happen to help the player settle in or start firing us or start doing well. One, the manager can either adjust his preferred approach to football to accommodate the player if they don't align. If the manager's approach to the game and the players, the way the player applies himself on the pitch, if they don't align, the manager can make adjustment to accommodate the player. Also, I think largely the player himself has to sometimes make adjustment to adapt to a team, the way a team plays. That's the easiest, actually, because the manager changing the way they approach the game will mean the entire team, something he's worked on for a while, has to change for him to accommodate a single player, which was why Thomas Tuchel did say publicly that he's not willing to build a team around a single individual. And had he done that, chances are Lukaku will still be at Chelsea and probably scored quite a lot of goals for us before anything. But I hope you understand my point. But thank you all, Ibafola, for joining the show this afternoon or evening or morning, wherever you're from. And the beautiful game, much love to you, brother. He said, big up, coach. I always question the loyalty of players who are vocal in their love for other clubs and don't trust them. But then again, Lukaku said Chelsea was his boyhood club. So what do I know? Yeah, and I think I can recall that video of a young Lukaku touring the Stamford Bridge facility, saying how much he loved it, how you could say he's always wanted to be become a Chelsea player and all that. I think just pay the money. The players, it's business for all parties involved. Business for the club, business for the players. Offer them something nice, they will follow you. It's as simple as that, and that's how I see it. But in the case of Osimhen, I'd go by the fact that I've seen him, a picture of him making rounds, picture of him wearing a Chelsea jersey. I'll take that. Plus, Didier Drogba has weighed in on his, you can say, preferred destination. Mikel Obi, same thing, all advising him to join Chelsea Football Club. But let's see what happens. I get it. People are saying he wants to join Liverpool. Arsenal also, I think Jude here did mention Arsenal, but nobody knows until that time comes. My only concern is that whether he'd like to come to us without Champions League football. And something else, Jude, let's talk about it quickly. Let's talk about it quickly. We already have Nicholas Jackson, and Senegal. He represents a Senegal on international level, and the truth remains. Senegal will always be there. Will always be part of the AFCON competition whenever the competition holds. So which means we'll be losing him whenever there's an AFCON competition. Now you could say the same thing for Nigeria. We'll always be part of the AFCON competition. So I don't think the club would risk having two African players, top African strikers, and lose the two of them every time AFCON holds. And to me, that's a problem. I don't think the club would risk that. Except I'm not sure how it's to you can say to come across effectively, but I do understand that you understand exactly what I'm trying to say. Would have two top African strikers, whom the two of which every time AFCON comes around, they will not be available. That's a problem. I don't think the club will risk that. But let's hear you.
Yeah, thank you, coach. You're absolutely correct. Let me just correct something. When I was talking about Arsenal and Liverpool, I was referring to Ivan Toney, who will have been another option.
Okay, you weren't referring to Osimhen.
No,
Okay.
no, 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 no. I wasn't, because there is no link. There's nothing linking Osimhen to any other team in England other than Chelsea. So yeah, coming back to, that's a difficult one. Yeah, considering the AFCON. Yeah, you're correct on that. But then I think if the striker is
Because we cannot overlook that fact.
yeah, but if the question is, who can we get? If we can get Tony, I would really like him, though he's older, but he can begin to give us immediate impact, and he doesn't need to learn to settle in Premier League. But then possibility of we getting that guy is tight. So, but we also need we need to add a very strong man in the front. So if it's not Osimhen, then who can we really look at? But it means we'll be looking at potentials, and I think I'm tired of potentials. That's just the thing.
It makes sense. I think I'd rather we go for Ivan Toney than Osimhen at this point. Not down because of Osimhen not being a good player. I know I've always asked the question: is he the sort of a striker that Pochettino would do well under Mauricio Pochettino? I have you can say my doubts, but I'm not going to go down that route. But more importantly, the fact that he's a top striker for Nigeria, the fact that Jackson is also a top striker for Senegal, it just doesn't make sense to have them both. And then once AFCON comes around, we'd lose them both, and then we'll start struggling. It just doesn't make sense. And I think I don't see the club overlooking that fact. It's simply if they're not paying attention. If they're not paying attention, then that's something if they end up doing, they will regret it in the future. But that's just my opinion anyway. Osimhen is the way to go. I don't argue against that, but I'm sure you've been listening, and if you've been listening, I'm sure you've heard my argument as to why that would be a problem. And Hans, nice to see you. I appreciate you finding the time to join the show. If Drogba rates him, he's the man. Wow, is that how you see it? Drogba rates him, Mikel rates him too. Coach, I think AFCON is a great tournament, and I am actually proud that we always have a Chelsea representation at the competition. It simply means that we have the best players, and that's a good thing. It's a good thing. It's a good thing, and believe me, I like you can say the best players are from Africa to always participate in the competition. But the fact is, it will be a problem for Chelsea to lose two top strikers whenever AFCON comes around. If you get my point, and I'm quite sure, if you ask me, I don't see a world where the club would consider signing Osimhen without considering the fact that he reps Nigeria internationally, and Nicholas Jackson reps Senegal internationally, and we'll most likely lose them both every time AFCON comes around, because the two countries that you can say are one of the you can say two of the top footballing countries in Africa. So they will always be there. If you get my concern there. Big up to you too, Santiago Munoz. I haven't seen you in a while. I hope you're doing well. And Chimera, you too. I do hope you're doing well. I appreciate you joining. Osimhen, he's a fine player, but you've heard that argument here. If you have anything else to add to that, let's hear you. And if you want to join the panel, if you think you have the time to join the panel, and the only you can say, should I say, caveat or the request here is that if it is your first time, then you have to be on camera. I think he will walk like Drogba, Kaligi, Simon. Here's the thing: will he be able to achieve what Drogba achieved as a footballer? I think yes. He's a fine player. He's still very young and can only get better. But here's the thing: the truth remains that the manager we have right now plays differently. He approaches football differently than Jose Mourinho. That is just my opinion, if you've been paying attention. So let's hear what else. Sheila is in the house. So big up to you. Good evening to you too, brother. I hope you're doing well. I appreciate you finding the time to join. We have Bobby in the house. Bobby, first of all, before anything else, I hope you're recovering well. I hope the treatment is going well. And I know you believe it when I tell you I've been praying. I will be continue to pray for you, and that I've been praying for you. I hope you're recovering well. Bobby, the question I want to ask you, we will end with the stadium discussion. We're starting with Victor Osimhen. Let's hear you. I know probably you've been listening, and you heard my argument with regards to us losing two top strikers in Nicholas Jackson and Victor Osimhen. That is, if we sign him with risk, which means we'd lose them both every time AFCON competition comes around. And this report here is saying that Chelsea are interested in Victor Osimhen, and the January departure cannot be discounted. January departure from Napoli's perspective, that he could still leave Napoli, given that what a lot of people call racial problem or issue, or maybe a racist issue. The Napoli striker still hasn't signed a new contract. Yep. He'd have about less than you can say less than 2 years left on his contract. By the time that this particular season ends, and isn't enjoying his football under Rudi Garcia. But Napoli are looking to change to hire another manager. They've even tried to sign Antonio Conte, who stole them. I think his response was that he needs more time off out of football to refuel, for lack of a better language. But let's hear you, Bobby. What do you make of this report? Do you think it makes sense to have two top African strikers and lose them every time AFCON comes around? I don't know how we will navigate that, because it's a problem. But let's hear you, Bobby.
Big up, Coach.
Big up to you too, brother.
Thanks for your concern. And yes, I am responding to treatment, and I'm going very much in the right direction. Osimhen, I actually hadn't thought of that AFCON situation. However, this is where squad strength in depth comes in, and perhaps a good reason to still hold on to, well, certainly to get into the Champions League, and to hold on to Armando Broja and have him in competition with both Osimhen, if we get him, and Jackson. Now, why I'm saying this is that Liverpool had Salah and what's the name of the other one? Salah and oh gosh, what's that Senegalese striker again? My brain.
Nicholas Jackson.
No, for Liverpool. Sadio Mane.
Sadio Mane, who plays for
Yeah,
plays in Saudi Arabia right now.
yeah, they had them both, and AFCON didn't particularly knock their nose out of joint because they had people like Jota, and also there's another striker, the Belgium striker, that would step in. So that's squad depth. I don't know why people always try and pretend people like Liverpool don't have squad depth. They certainly do, and they certainly did. So I don't know. I think it's I can see the saga coming in January. I can see us going for him, but my mind is a little bit split. The only thing that makes him, to me, a better option than Ivan Toney is his age. Apart from that, that's a very, very difficult choice to make. But I can see us going for him, and I don't think it's a shame that the AFCON may be an issue to us, especially with our fan base, and they get rid of culture. But I wouldn't be perturbed by that, and I would keep three of them and rotate them. By three of them, I mean Jackson, um, Broja, and Osimhen if we get him. Some of them will have to sit on the bench at times, and I just wish some fans will shut up when that happens because that's part of being a big team, a successful team. You must rotate, and players must sit on the bench. I am sick and tired of us screaming and shouting and kicking up a fuss when we have a player on the bench for 5 minutes, yet we sell a player to someone like Newcastle. They don't get to play at all. They're not only on the bench but in the stands largely, and we're okay with that. And they're offering them squad depth. That has never made any sense to me. So I would indeed consider that option. However, I'm not there earning the big bucks. And I think that level of technical and tactical decision making has to be what our directors are for. That's it.
Right, let's give those in the chat the microphone. I'll come back to you again. Let's hear what people has to say. Are you all for us signing Osimhen? And remember, my question is, how do we deal with their absence? I'll get something interesting that Sheila has said. Just a bit, two comments down below. When I get to that, I have a response to that. Good evening to you too, my bro. I hope you're doing well. Much love, panel, and that's my bro from the Added Time podcast. He's changed it to Keeping It Real, Chelsea. Always nice to see you, brother. I hope you're doing well. I know you have a show later on today, or has it aired already? If it hasn't, do share the link to that show so that people can go check it out. You can also share the link to your YouTube channel so people can check it out and subscribe. Much love to you, brother. And whenever time allows, I will get onto your panel as long as you let me know you have a show coming up. And hope you're doing well. Bobby just saw somebody in the chat saying hello to you. And Sheila is saying we had DJ Drop. We had Michael Essien and Kalu once leaving for AFCON. Then other players had to play while they were away. And it's just for roughly a month. Here's the thing. We don't have the luxury right now. At the time, we had one of the best squads in world football. If you're being truthful to yourself, we could do with even Frank Lampard at the time. And we could do with him without him at the time. We could do without Michael Essien. We could do... Name one player at the time that you say if they're not playing will struggle. But right now, yeah, tell me, we have a problem. If Enzo Fernandez gets injured, who within our squad has proven to be able to play what you could call the orchestrator, or you could say the pilot role? Who? Nobody else. And you tell me if Nicholas Jackson right now gets injured, the game again that Amanda Brewer started in his absence, you could tell that Brewer was rusty, and up till now, we're not quite sure whether Brewer returned the same. So we don't have the luxury, or we don't have the sort of squad we had at the time. We had a very, very strong squad, the best in the Premier League, arguably, in world football. So in the absence, the squad we have right now, in the absence of Nicholas Jackson and Osimhen, if we sign him, we'd be missing a lot. We'll be missing quite a lot. And we need to get into to achieve a European place, to get into top 4 or maybe top 5 by the time the season ends. So a month is a lot. Even if we miss them in just 3 games, that's quite a lot. If you understand my point. But I get where you're coming from. But I don't think we should be comparing the squad we have right now with the squad we had at the time. Coach, don't you think as soon as things don't go well at Chelsea, Tourné will be off to the club? He really likes. We've seen this before. We've watched that. We've seen that movie before. But my point is, as much as I wouldn't mind the club signing Osimhen, and as long as Pochettino will be willing to make adjustments to his preferred approach to football to accommodate Osimhen and help him hit the ground running, I'm all for it. But my question is, we have Nicholas Jackson, a Senegalese international. Then if we sign Osimhen, Nigerian international, and he always gets called up, especially when it's AFCON. It's not like it's a friendly. That you could say, sometimes you get the country to say to let the players stay behind. So I still think the club will consider that fact, that every time AFCON comes around, we'll be losing 2 of our best players. And settle for less, if that makes sense. But I get your argument. We've seen that movie before. Bobby always attacking the fans. It's some fans. But if you get his point, by now you should understand what he means when he says that. So let's move on from that. Chimera, please don't cause fight here. Henry Alex says, nice, brother, and I am okay with that. Nice to see you, Henry Alex. I hope you're doing well. And if you're watching, we'll have just 31 likes, and that's a good sign. We're 31 minutes into the show, and we have 31 likes. Keep dropping the likes on the stream, and also do subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Nkunku can play a striker just for 1 month. But here's the thing. If we have Nicholas Jackson, and that's Shooks, or is it Chukwuemeka Chukodi or Chukadibia? Let me know which one is it. If we have what's his name? If we have Victor Osimhen with again, and we have Nicholas Jackson, and we have what's his name? And we have Nkunku, right? Chances that Nkunku will not be playing as a number 9 if we have this guys at the club. So which means when they leave and Nkunku starts playing as a 9, then we'll be playing with a makeshift attack. Let that sink in. He hasn't played there for a while, and it becomes a problem. If that makes sense. I don't know. Again, if we can, if the club feels like that's what they want to do, honestly, I'm all for it. Who am I to blow against the wind? It's that time of the year, Jerry. Always nice to see you, brother. I do hope you're doing well. The club knows that. That is the reason why they are going all out for Osimhen. No, you cannot tell me they know Osimhen we'll be losing him every time AFCON comes around, and that's the main reason why they're going for him. No, I'd say they're going for him because he's a good striker. But that's besides the point right now. Let's move on to the next item we have lined up. If anybody else has anything else to say with regards to the possibility of Chelsea signing Osimhen in January, and rumors are, that we are interested in going for him in January. And from Napoli's perspective, chances are, that he could still leave Napoli in January. And remember, Osimhen will not come for cheap. We're talking about De Laurentiis, the Napoli president. Even if a player has 2 days left on a particular player has 2 days left on his contract, he's still be asking for premium, unfortunately. And January, usually to sign the top striker as Osimhen, you'd be paying premium to get the deal over the line. Let's move on to the next item we have lined up. Keep dropping the likes on the stream, people. 32 likes. Let's get the likes up. If you're watching, if you haven't, please do take a second to drop a like on the stream. We'd really appreciate that. So let's move on to the next item as quickly as we can. Let's go for it. All right, this one is concerning. It is one of those situation where I say don't fold, you'd hear the rival fans start talking about how we ruin players' career, um, how we ruin the career of players, and in this case, it is Dacho Fofana, a player that I argued at the time, his numbers show that he isn't the sort of player that you send out on loan. It just didn't make sense at the time, and it didn't. To now, it still doesn't make sense. The player who talked about how he's always wanted to play for Chelsea, and it wasn't like there weren't other clubs interested in signing him at the time. Barcelona was also interested. There were other clubs, Premier League clubs, and we went and signed them. And then his start to life at Chelsea wasn't handled properly, especially on the ground, Potter. Because see, this guy is not just your typical number 9. He can play on either flanks, left, right. He can also play centrally. He drops deep. He's a fine dribbler. He's a fine finisher. And now probably with a mind, you can say disappointed mindset, he's gone to Real Union Berlin. He started well there, but it's looking like he's struggling right now. Union Berlin sporting director Oliver Ruhat, I can't pronounce that German name, on Dacho Fofana's struggles. Changing the result is not that easy for a young player. Yep. Here's the thing, it just doesn't make sense right now. The fact that we have David Washington, who, if you ask me, I'd say he's not better than Dacho Fofana. He also had a private problems at times. A little something that came together. He also lacks a bit of goal to give himself confidence, and he started well there. I'm not too sure what to make of it. I'm just not happy that we sent him out on loan in the first place. Jude, let's hear you. What do you make of his current situation?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, on Dato Fafana's issue. Sorry, before I start, shout out to Bobby. Good to see you on the panel again. The on the Dato Fafana, yeah, welcome. Dato Fafana situation, I think yeah, it's disheartening anyway, because I love the way the guy is so skillful, and I was thinking he was going to have it good in Chelsea, but all hope is not lost. If he's struggling over there, I think he can still come back and still get himself developed under Pochettino. But I don't want Chelsea to let that guy go because I see a good baller in him. I love strikers that can hold their opponent and dribble very well. He has that potential. It gives a lot of confidence. So if he's not doing well there, I think he should come back at the end of the season and come and see what he can do here. And I think I'm not sure, but does he get called up for Ivory Coast?
No, I don't know. Let me just say I do not know.
I'm
Because
not
I
sure.
could be
I'm not
wrong.
sure. Yeah.
If I just say no, yeah.
He does.
He does. Okay.
Oh, he does.
Okay.
Okay, probably say he does. Yeah.
Okay.
He does.
So yeah, but he can come back home, and if it's not going on well for him there, the truth is, if we are able to make top 5 or top 4, whatever it's called, which I believe we can still do it, or hope is not lost. We are only about 9 points, 9 points away from first position. So 9 points is 3 wins in a row. I'm assuming the people at the top 2 are going to lose. So I will still have a long way to go. If we can make that, we'll be needing depth, because what will keep you in all competition is you having players that can represent somebody. You'll be surprised that if anything happens to Enzo, you'll be surprised that one of those guys that are not playing regularly will step in and they will do well.
All right. I think for me, I'm just not happy. I don't think we should have. I don't think he's not the sort of talent, given his numbers when he joined us. He had most taken, something a good number of chances created, assists, also a good dribbler. It just didn't make sense to me at the time, and it still doesn't right now. Let's see what else we have here. And this is a Chelsea Ultra. I haven't seen you in a few days, brother. I hope you're coping with your own situation very well, but always nice to see you. I would take Osimhen over Tone every day of the week. Tone is a walking problem. He was even ridiculing his own club on social media, saying he's too good for them, then there's a gambling. I couldn't say that any better. Here's the thing: I am a strong believer of giving people a strong believer of second chances. Let me just leave it at that. But Bobby did say something, I think a month ago or two, when we talked about Tone's situation at his age, and when that was Bobby had to. You can say he said what I'm about to say right now. When I asked the question, when I did say something to the effect of us not being sure whether he's overcome the gambling habit, and that is if he's gone for treatment at all. And Bobby said, at his age, at Everton's age right now, the risk of him gambling is even higher, and that's because he's approaching retirement. And when you're approaching retirement, your priority will be to ensure you have your future secured. You have security for the foreseeable future, which means chances are he'd still get involved in gambling one way or the other. My biggest problem at the time was the fact that he went to the extent of betting against his own club. That was unbelievable. Yeah, it's not. His character is an issue for me. Coach, the solution is to install a clause in Osimhen's contract that he scores 30 goals per season by every January to ensure we have a 12-point cushion at the top of the league before he goes to AFCON. Wow, some argument, really. I don't think he'd agree to sign that, but I get your argument there. Good evening, Kachila, and everyone in the chat, and it's DJ. So much love to you, brother. I haven't seen you for like 1,000 years, DJ. I hope you're okay, brother. I know you've been busy. Not every signing is meant to play for Chelsea. Fofana is not better than Broya. No, in my opinion, if we're going by what they have achieved so far as players, they say numbers don't lie, then he's better than Broya, in my opinion. And I like Broya too. It's not better than Broya or Jackson. Hence, he's out on loan. If he does perform well, then we call him back. Here's the thing. I'll just go with the second part of your comment there. But the first part, I disagree, in my opinion. Go do the comparison. Find the season, that season, particular season at Moldy, where he played 30 plus games. So I don't know how many games in total. And then compared to the season when Broya was on loan at Southampton, how many games he's played? No. Let's go by the numbers. If you're basing your judgment on eye test alone, then I have nothing to say, in my opinion. Just having a conversation there. Let's see what else we have here. Tone will not, because if Arsenal are chasing him, then if we're his second choice, then we shouldn't even go for him. God of Frogs, always nice to see you, brother. Let me know. I hope school is going well. I haven't seen you in a while, but more importantly, I hope your school is going well. Noticeably, you forgot to put Starling in what list are you talking about? And Boehly. Keep dropping the likes on the stream. You can disagree with me all you want. Coach, Broya is Premier League proven. If you're saying he's Premier League proven, how many goals has he scored in the Premier League? If we're going by that, it's not about. We're having a conversation, and I know you're not taking anything personal. That is just you speaking with me as a brother. You can say as a community, as a member of the community here. If we get into that argument, I can assure you, you're not going to win. But you're entitled to think Broya is you can say at the same level as Leo Messi. But that's just you. Yeah, let's move on to the next item we have lined up here. Keep dropping the likes on the stream, people. 36 likes. That's a good sign. Let's see if we can get it to 100 likes as soon as possible. Let's move on to the next item. All right. It's that part of the show where I'm not sure what to say. Here's the thing. This report here, and that's Simon Phillips, a quote. Alex Crook says Conor Gallagher is open to signing a new contract at Chelsea after becoming a key player under Mauricio Pochettino. Chelsea are now expected to open talks over a new deal. Here's the thing, and I'm going to say this again. I've said this 1,000 times. He's improved. He has to be one of the most improved players under Mauricio Pochettino. He showed that he has something to offer. But I'm going to go back to letting you know also that he's not one of my favorite players at Chelsea. But I know there's a good player in him. And believe me, he will not, he's chosen to stay because we had an offer on the table in the summer and he refused refused to leave. He's chosen to stay, and he did say something to the effect of how the manager has pedigree of nurturing young players and helping them become better. That's a smart move from him. And some points, he's Chelsea through and through. He has that industry. He's still young and can only improve. He can only improve. As much as I'd still say he's not one of my favorite players at Chelsea, and I don't like seeing him in the central area. Now we're playing with a structure, 4-3-3 structure, where he plays on the flanks. And believe me, as long as we play with that particular structure, Conor Gallagher will always perform. He will always deliver. For instance, at Crystal Palace, he played on the right-hand side in a similar structure. And throughout the season, he was prolific for them. He was scoring goals, assisting goals, punishing big teams, making big teams uncomfortable. One example being the game against Manchester City. And throughout the season, it wasn't like at any time he dropped form or picked up form. He was in good form throughout the season. And I'm saying that because as long as we continue with a 4-3-3 structure, he has a place in this team. Do I think he will always be started? No, because we still have some players that will still come. For instance, Romeo Lavia can still come in. I know he doesn't have Gallagher's industry, but he's reached the game quite well, a good passer of the ball, and also good at playing out from the back. But Gallagher can only get better. If he stays, I'm all for it. If the club decides to sell him, I could care less. It wouldn't bother me, honestly. But I want to start with Bobby on this one. And it's a good thing he stays. And I think the fact that he chose to stay and not leave when the club had an offer on the table, I think the owners like that. And that's a pattern to the way they operate too. I've seen that if any player shows the slightest intent of leaving the club, they push to sell the player, which the case of Trevor Chalobah, they've seen he wants to leave. He pushed to join Real Madrid. The only Bayern Munich. The only reason why we didn't sell him at the time was that Bayern wanted him on loan, and we wanted to sell him outright. But Bobby, let's hear you. I think he gets it. He's open to a new contract. Question now is, would the club offer him one? But let's hear you.
I think they will, and I also hope they will. I think Gallagher is a player that I'm so thankful he's with us and that he's a fan and his family, are fans. Mm-hmm. And he's just one of those players that people don't appreciate until you don't have him. Gallagher is not an eye test player, but he is very functional. And every great team.
And I think that's a better way to put it. He's not an eye test player, but he has something to offer. But go ahead.
He has a lot to offer. And every successful team needs their functional players. They need those workhorses. They need those loyal players. They need those fighters. All the great French teams that had Didier Deschamps, including the national team, became successful. Was he the singular reason for the success? No. Was he a vital cog in the wheel to galvanize that success? Absolutely. Gallagher is one of those. As this team develops, with a player like Gallagher, whether he starts every game or not, it's irrelevant, doesn't matter. The fact is his presence. His fitness record is excellent. Long may that continue. His endeavor on the pitch is second to none. And now, as you've said, he's so improved that he's even adding quality to that endeavor. And he can only get better. I think it will be perhaps one of our best signings if we give him a deserved new contract. And I really, really hope we do. I think we will, because it means nothing to his sale price. If the club want to sell him having a new contract will only give them more leverage to name their price. He's getting England call-ups. He's at a good age. He's getting first-team appearances for Chelsea. So giving him a contract is not the issue, but it's just keeping him at the club. And I think that contract will encourage him. It will make him feel, well, I've worn the captain's armband and the club really wants me. And that can only give even better performances from him. I think it will be foolish, bad business to get rid of a player like Gallagher. And it's very, very short sighted, those people that keep advocating deliberately for him to leave. They're not thinking, or they don't understand the dynamics with which successful football operates. That's all
Yes,
I have to
say let me use this one word. The Bluetooth game said yesterday he checked Gallagher's injury record. It literally says no entries. And I laughed. His fitness record is brilliant, and he may well end up being on a very on a Jordan Henderson. Honestly, I think he's capable of even becoming better than Jordan Henderson, in my
Yes,
opinion.
yes.
Yeah,
And
we wait
Henderson
to
is
see.
just that player. He wasn't an eye test player, but boys, was he functional for Liverpool? I think
Yeah.
Gallagher will be better than Henderson. And, you don't get rid of players like that at all. They are the
Mm.
players that wear your captain's armband.
Yeah, I do agree with you. Let me give those in the chat the microphone. I'll come back out here, Jerry. Speak. Then I'll go to Jude before we move to the next item. Oh no, what? Let's see what else we're saying here. This says Broya. Banging goes at the same lower league club of Fofana, but let him do it. When he does that, come back. Let's talk about it. I like Fofana, but I'm not making an emotional judgment. My judgment of Fofana are not emotional. Based on his numbers, based on even the little time about, I'm not sure the total minutes he played for Chelsea under Graham Potter. Yeah, and he should be at the time should be starting ahead of a lot of players that you could say that were starting at the time under Graham Potter. That's just my opinion. Chances are Broya will show in the future that he's better than him. But right now, if you're going by what they've achieved as players, it doesn't matter whether they played in the Farmers League in let's say Hawaii or anywhere, or play for Enugu Rangers. It doesn't really matter. What matters is their output already. That's where you compare. James Milner in blue, yeah, even more than that. The Gallagher perspective agenda on the rise again. Unfortunately, the conversation is there. We have to talk about it. Coach, I don't believe a word. Just go away. You know I don't like you, man. Okay, I agree. I will give you what to now. Big up Adriel Parker. Much love to you. I appreciate you joining. Enough already. Okay, there you go. We're switching to the next topic as long as the two speakers we have on the panel speak. What I want from Gallagher is him to improve massively on what he's good at. I think he's getting better by the day. And here's the thing. The fact is, I think we should learn to live with him. It doesn't look like the manager wants him gone. Had that been the case, he'd be gone by now. The fact is that the manager wants to keep him. So you have to get over that already and get behind him. Gallagher would need a new contract, 100 to 120K per week, plus guaranteed playtime to stay. That's the part. The fact he hasn't signed since is that he wants to be sure he has a future at the club. Am I sure that would be the case? All I know is that the manager likes him. And so far, he's one of our best players this season, even though he's not one of my favorite players. To stay at Chelsea, he is an England international. And if he cannot play, Southgate won't select him. It's as simple as that. That's another thing. But let's see what the club does. If he gets his own banner, I am off to Strasbourg. He may well get it. Technically, we know he won't improve it, but I hope he gets a better for Chelsea's sake. He's getting better already. Maybe you're not paying attention. You minds are not serious. What happens to Gallagher when Lavia gets fit and starts to play like Iniesta, destination bench all loan, since his new contract will be a 5 to 6 years prison sentence. Here's the thing. They are actually two different profile players. Romeo Lavia, in my opinion, way better, but Lavia cannot offer what Gallagher can offer, which is important. We've seen how important that is to the manager, but we'll find out soon. Big up to you too, EE. I hope you're doing well. We can sell a Conor for more after his signs a new contract. It looks like that's a trick. Also, just 1 second, Bobby. It looks like also that's a trick the club are using. And Mitchie boy, nice to see you. I appreciate you finding the time to join, Michi. even though I don't like you, you know what to do. And he is a funny man. Coach, isn't Gallagher 2% Nigerian? Shouldn't he be going to African too? I don't think Gallagher. No, just go away. Bobby, go ahead. You wanted to add something.
I was going to say. Oh, yeah, sorry. I was going to say that. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear everything.
I was going to say that. Look, all these people talking about, oh, what's going to happen to Gallagher when Lavia gets back, or when this person gets back, or this, that, the other, and a farthing. Look, there will still be injuries. There will still be suspensions. There will still be players that will be absent in various areas in and around that midfield area. So there's always space at some point. There's always games to be played. There will hopefully be more competitions as we improve as a team. You don't stunt the development of your team and indeed incumbent players on suppositions. If so and so is back, that means he's going to be clockwork all season. No, it doesn't. That's why you need squad depth. I hope he is, but if he isn't, there will be other areas. There'll be the reason to give the likes of Gallagher game time in that area. But there will also be other areas that there'll be injuries, suspensions, and goodness knows what. So these players who are quite flexible will have their chance. So I'm not into stunting the team on suppositions at all. Let him stay, let him continue doing his thing, and may the best man get the position. If he loses his place to Lavia because Lavia has come and shown he's an absolute baller, so be
Then
it.
let it be. Yeah.
Chelsea
It's
benefits.
as simple as that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. I don't think we should be fighting ourselves over it. It's the manager's decision anyway, and what we think doesn't change anything. I have a question. Why don't we, as fan base, pressure Enzo like what we do to like Enzo is our star boy? Is he not? I'm not sure what to make of that particular question there, but it's an interesting one indeed. Yeah, good one from Adriel. And 2% is not enough. Chimera, thank you for saying that. It's not about space or competition to play. Bobby, it's about Gallagher's status at the club. Just like Cowell, Gallagher needs a guaranteed play time, and that will not happen, in my opinion. That is just you, in your opinion, and I like the disclaimer there. In your opinion, you're not sure it's not going to happen. But even as I still think Romeo Lavia is a better player, I'm still suspecting that even after Romeo Lavia recovers, Gallagher will still on occasion start ahead of him. Even though I think he's a way better player.
Pochettino likes him in his tactics.
Yeah,
it
so
becomes
everything
a tactical
comes down.
issue.
Yeah, I'm just mentioning Lavia because people always thinks when he comes back, it's Gallagher is done. No, but they're two different players. And chances are when Lavia comes back, he starts centrally because he's better than Caicedo in terms of beating the press. Yeah, no matter how tight the space is, Lavia is very good at finding solutions in the tight space than Caicedo, than Enzo, than all the players we have right now, especially in that deeper position. But that's, by the way, let's hear you, Jerizi. I know you haven't spoken before we go to Jude. Let's hear your thoughts on Chelsea looking to offer Gallagher a new contract. Let's look at that report again. This is just saying that Gallagher is open to signing a new contract. And this highlights something some people have said in the chat. I think it was, who was that? Was it Vic that said that? It says Gallagher is open to signing a new contract at Chelsea. Pay attention to this aspect of this paragraph. After becoming a key player under Mauricio Pochettino. That's the thing. He needs to be playing, otherwise he will lose his place in the England national team and all that. And he's still young too. But let's hear you, Jerry C. What do you make of the Gallagher situation? This particular report does not in any way suggest that the club have offered him anything new. It's just saying that Gallagher is open to signing a new contract. Whether the club will look to offer him a new contract, we don't know. But let's hear you, Jerry C.
Good afternoon, Coach.
Yeah, that's the second time today, but I'll take it.
Right. I think it's almost afternoon at your time, at your place, right? So,
Yeah, it's 11:59, just a minute before noon. Yeah.
wow. Okay, so about Gallagher, I'll just make it short, right? Uh, I'll say something very blunt. The 2 to 5% people who understands football, they all back Gallagher. They all admire him, right? So I don't really understand what's the negativity and what is the problem of Chelsea fans as a whole, largely with the Conor Gallagher. It's in my analysis, in my understanding of football, I have not a single reason to take their all of these comments don't have any you can say footballing critique. It's just statements, right? It doesn't have any statement or anything that suggests in an analytical way that how or why Conor Gallagher is not good enough. If we take the last season, right? Last season, everyone apart from Thiago Silva, right? Everyone was bad. So why we are or the fans looking at Conor Gallagher? So he's only 23, right? And let me ask the fans, is this an individual game or a team game? How many players play in the team? One or 11? 11, right? So there are different roles to cover. Conor Gallagher is an exceptionally all-round player. And if you recall, I have to go and search in the May, June sessions that we did at Chelsea Perspective. When I was not on the panel, I was in the chat. I won't say I was the first one. I don't remember that. But at that time, and everyone was sure that Conor Gallagher would be sold. In my analysis of Pochettino's system, I said that he's the perfect player for Poch. So moving forward, of course, these are reports and indication, and it does look that they will offer him a contract. So I really hope that, in my opinion, like because at in the last summer window, in the last few days, he was there were talks with him joining Tottenham Hotspur, right, or West Ham United. So the thing is that what I understand, and of course we only have the information what is in front of us, right? At least to me, I don't have information in what's going on behind the scenes. So I think Pochettino definitely, like the way he has put the trust in him, given him the captaincy band. It's evident, it's crystal clear to me that he wants him to stay. So I hope that the club, if Pochettino really wants him to stay, I really hope that the club would listen to Pochettino. That's all I can say. And to me, he is improving. He has improved a lot. He's only 23, only 8 games in the season. And I'm sure that he will prove even his biggest critics wrong. So I'm very happy, and I really hope that he will be given a contract and that he stays at Chelsea.
Yeah, thank you so much. Jude is gone. Let me give those in the microphone, inside the microphone, and then we'll come back and switch it to the next item. It's not about space. I think we've read about that one. We paid 58 million for Lavia. He's not holding a bench over Gallagher, who cost us a grand total of drum roll, 0. Here's the thing, but it's about, again, what the manager wants, not really about how much you paid for a player. What's the future of our 3-man midfield? Once Nkunku is back, we are likely to stick with Enzo and Caicedo. Nkunku and Palma in the 10 role. Can Gallagher bench Caicedo or Enzo? I'm not sure. I'm not sure how to answer that question. Like I've said, when they come back, we'll find out. But in my opinion, I'm just going to let you know this. Even when Nkunku becomes available and Lavia becomes available, they differ. They operate differently. Gallagher brings something to the table that none of those players bring, even though those players are the more skillful, more technically gifted, but Gallagher is built different. Something he brings we don't have, honestly. And I think with time, hate him or love him, and I'm going to tell you also he's not my favorite player at Chelsea. But I'm not denying how his industry is very, very important to the manager. And his numbers also end up bad. Him combined with what's his name, Cole Palmer, have created the most big chances for Chelsea Football Club. If you've not been paying attention, I'm going to repeat that again. Him and Cole Palmer have created the most big chances for Chelsea Football Club. As much as I know, we can. If you ask me, in my opinion, we can do better than him. But there are some things you cannot deny. And given what we have right now, we need them. I'm joining from Shama in the western region of Ghana. Welcome to the show, Gabriel Kobina Essien, my African bro, West African bro. And tell me, are you Michael Essien's relative by any chance? If that's the case, let us know. And Kobina, if you don't mind, please come over to YouTube and subscribe to the YouTube channel. We'll do monthly giveaway every month for students. We haven't done the one for this particular month, and you may you never know. Chances are you become our next winner. So join us, and if you're watching on Twitter or Facebook, you can also subscribe to the channel at the same time. That doesn't stop you from watching it on Facebook, but you can. We'd really appreciate it if you can, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Also, Coach, the evening streams hit differently, I swear. Big up. I'm glad you're enjoying it, brother. Probably because I'm much more energized than waking up 2 a.m. to prepare for the show. Let's see. That's a rhetorical question. Okay. Let's see what else we have here. You men are funny. Casado, Enzo, Lavia, and Uguchiku, then Kani, Palmer, and Nkunku, all project signings. Gallagher is the black sheep. I'm sorry. Okay. Your opinion still. No need to be sorry. That's the truth. We also have other projects on loan, like Santos and Casade, a few of them. Lots of them. Gallagher is not a sheep, he's a roadrunner. Okay, let's hear your conversation there. He's bringing that dog. Coach out. Wow. You doing this? I don't like you no more. I don't like you no more. Let's see what else we have here. Oh, wow, it's trending. Vic and Frog is fuming. They are. Frog isn't fuming. Frog knows I'm on his side. Frog knows I'm on his side. I like Gallagher, and he has improved a lot. I am just worried about his future at Chelsea. That's clearly stated as can be. Honestly, in my opinion, his future, I'm not too sure. But do I think he has a place right now from what we've seen? And the fact that he differs from all of the midfielders we have, and if we continue to play with the 4-3-3 structure, he will always deliver. And the manager will most likely select him more than other players you think will be starting over him. Even though, clearly Romeo Lavia is a much more complete player than him, but he offers something different that Romeo Lavia cannot offer. But that's why the way this says that, Coach, we would kill for a hell line like Gallagher's. I am jealous, but I cannot. Just go with. Okay, Jude, let's hear you so that we can move on to other topics we'll have lined up today. I'm sure you've seen the report yourself. The report is in no way doesn't in any way suggest that Chelsea have an offer on the table for him. They're just saying that the player himself is open to signing a new contract, and that's because he's become a key player. He's playing and he's enjoying himself. So, but let's hear you. Jude, are you there, or should we move on to the next item?
Sorry. Yeah, sorry. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, crystal clear.
Yeah, I lost connectivity at some point. Yeah, but I think you are talking about Gallagher, right?
You are in New York and you're losing connectivity.
I went to
your service, man.
I went to pick my son in school. So as soon as I entered the place, the network went away.
Well, you went to pick up your boss from school, not your son. That's the way I like to put it anyway, but go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think I'm very impressed with Gallagher. I'm so happy for him. I'm happy for the development he's making in Chelsea because people were trolling him initially. But one thing that just made me like him was the fact that I saw that he's trying to put that effort. We've been talking about wanting to fight for his place. Even when Mason Mount was still in Chelsea. Some people were saying, oh, he's not going to bench Mount and all that. But I'm happy he stayed, and I'm happy for the progress he's making. And I think he's a player to keep, because one of the things you need is commitment. When somebody's in a place where he's happy to be, he will definitely come out better. I'm very impressed with the fact that the day he signed his contract, his parents, his dad specifically, was jubilating, like they really achieved something, So then I looked into it and I saw that, oh, he's a proper Chelsea boy, because sometimes we get carried away thinking anybody from the academy is a proper Chelsea, but not
Yeah,
everybody.
we're learning that the hard way.
Yeah,
Chelsea is just more like the Chelsea Academy is more like the best school in the community. Every
yes,
parent would like to send their kids there to go get good education, but that doesn't mean they like that community, or because that doesn't mean they like. You could say, but you get the point anyway. Just go ahead.
Yeah, so I'm very happy that it's a proper Chelsea. It's a proper Chelsea, and I'm very impressed with that. And I'm happy he's doing well under the new coach. Like one of our preseason games, the coach had to call him and give him an instruction to close the gap, and you saw him do that instantly. So I can't say anything other than I'm happy for him improving, and I look forward to seeing him stay in Chelsea in the long run. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. His thing. I would take him over Mason Mount, but that is me. Yeah, I would take him over Mason Mount, but I'm going to say it again. That is just me. Let's see his thing. Coach, why are you filling the panel with Gallagher fans club? It's just like Chelsea under Lampard. There's no balance. Well, if anybody in the chat wants to come on, just hit me up and I'll bring you up. I don't know.
I would just like to ask, like, it's the people who are criticizing him to please provide a footballing or tactical reasoning that why do you see what you're saying, what is the reason, like you see him that he is not good enough, or he lacks the talent, or where he plays his positions. Why? Just don't make an argument that Lavia is better or this guy is better. Look at these, let's say, 8 games that we have played in the Premier League, and give a footballing reasoning, a tactical reasoning that can suggest that what you're saying is like this is the reason. Then we can see and debate, right, or talk. So, or maybe we can learn. Maybe you're right. But we would like to know the reason, not that he's a runner or he's like this and that. That doesn't make any sense, right?
Yeah, I agree with you. And I sincerely do appreciate that comment there. Let's see. Let's move on to the next item we have lined up here, and so that we can continue. We still have to talk about the stadium, which is a main topic for the day. Let's move on. Let's get into it. It says the Stoll have now confirmed the sale of the site next to Stamford Bridge to Chelsea. It is believed that Chelsea will pay around £80 million for the land. Here's where this gets, where I get confused a bit with regards to this. And the following report says that is after spending £80 million to buy the land surrounding Stamford Bridge. This report here is saying Chelsea are still looking into the possibility of moving away from Stamford Bridge, despite the club receiving confirmation that their £80 million purchase of a site next to the current ground will go ahead. That is oxymoron, contradictory, or maybe for lack of a better term. But Bobby, let's hear you. You've seen these two statements here. The first one saying Stoll have now confirmed the sale of the site next to Stamford Bridge to Chelsea, and then this one is saying that doesn't mean that they will. Okay, Bobby's gone. But let me start with you, Jerry C. And this one is saying that doesn't mean that Chelsea will most certainly remain at the bridge. They could still move. It just doesn't make sense to me. Why pay 80 million for the land, or are they just using it as a smooth screen just to get the people? You could say who owns the place that's that possibility for Chelsea to move, to get them to sell to them by feeling like, okay, if we don't sell to them, they're going to stay at the bridge. I'm not sure what to make of it. Bobby, comment there. This one is saying we're going to pay 80 million to get that land close to the bridge. Yeah. This one is saying but that doesn't mean that we're still not going to move. I'm not sure what to make of it, but let's hear you.
There's always contradiction sometimes in the way these published statements are made, and sometimes it's deliberate just to create the confusion and cause mischief. My understanding of that situation was that in terms of the project and to galvanize the project, they took, an option of three decisions. One, either move to Earls Court, which was more challenging and more difficult. Two, stay at the bridge, which I think is definitely the favoured position. And three, while staying at the bridge, do they build the new stadium stand by stand while still at the bridge, which they didn't favour, and it seemed messy and financially not so viable, or do they move out of the bridge and then do the complete overhaul, that is completely knock down what's there and rebuild what they want to do, which is the favored position. They wanted that extra land for more space to create more financially beneficial outlets. People are talking about a sort of Chelsea Park where you can watch games on a big live screen. I'm not sure they'll do that. I'm thinking it'll just be part of the extension to the stadium to give them room to build. They might decide to move the hotel that way rather than have it so attached to the stadium, so then have more room for the stand. Whatever is the case, having more land means you can do more in a place like that. And then the issue is about moving out to where while this building work is going on. And there were several choices. There was Wembley Stadium, and then there is the Olympic Stadium, which is West Ham's ground, and then there is Twickenham, and then there is Fulham's Craven Cottage. Now, for me personally, I definitely rule out the Olympic Stadium. I don't want us having anything to do with
You're talking about the temporary
move. Yeah, I don't like that idea. East London, West Ham, there's something not really interesting about that. And I visualize a lot of bitter clashes between fans, especially West Ham not wanting Chelsea messing around their turf. So to me, that's a no-go. Wembley, less so, because teams that have moved out there, particularly Tottenham, it didn't really work out for whatever reason. I'm not saying that will be the same for us if that happens, but I find that not as attractive. Twickenham, I kind of like. A lot of people don't, but I think it's big. It will fill Chelsea. It is part of our area. And I think it will give us the opportunity to actually play with an 80,000 seater stadium, which I'm sure we're going to fill. So that I like, but some people don't. There's an issue about the pitch there as well. How well kept is it? Is it too hard for our players? Will it encourage injuries? I don't know. Then the option of Craven Cottage, a lot of people like it, but I think, well, not bad. It's only down the road, but it's rather small, and it really won't be big enough. So it's a bit of a conundrum, and my mind is moving more to Twickenham because of the size than anything else. But I can see a situation where they go for Craven Cottage since it's just next door. And then, somehow manage to squeeze fans into that miniature stadium, which will not be good. So that is the situation. I think we should be happy that we've managed to secure the land, or at least have a promise to be sold the land, whatever the situation is right now. 80 million, we all know, is peanuts to our owners, and won't affect us with FFP because it's part of the development expenditure. Do we need a new stadium? Most definitely. It is very much ingrained in our financial future. And, people are saying at least 55,000. I don't think so. I think Chelsea should be looking at least 60,000. And in fact, the stadium
should be one of the biggest in England.
Well, to not only that, for the financial benefits in terms of gate taking.
More importantly, actually.
Yeah, so we should be looking at 60,000 plus, and I'm pretty sure the owners will do that. All these visits to America, looking at the stadiums we played in, Mercedes-Benz Stadium, and the other one in Chicago, especially
Mhm.
that one that built down. I think that's a very interesting concept, and a concept that Roman Abramovich used for his Bird's Nest Stadium to give it the
Here's where the one that's
60,000
built
plus
down is the
capacity.
one that's built into the ground is an issue. I think there was geological concerns, for lack of a better term, that London is sometimes will have flood issues, and that becomes a problem. But go ahead.
Well, yeah,
I read
what I
something to
heard
that
of
effect. Why?
yeah,
Yeah, go ahead.
what I heard of that was there was talk that the railway underground runs under the stadium, and that it will be limited to how far down you can go, if you can go down at all. But Roman's plans went down. That increased the capacity by, I think, 5 to maybe even 10,000 from what they built. I mean, and the Soldiers Field Stadium in Chicago, that goes down to about 5,000 capacity, if not more. It's not that you're building the whole stadium below sea level, but you're just increasing your ability to expand. Now, the question of flooding, this is modern engineering. you, we have a whole nations below sea level that don't flood, vis-a-vis Holland. So I'm not sure if with modern technology and the whole building nous that exists today, and the fact that a lot of London, especially that part of London, a lot of the buildings have basement types floors, because back in the 18th, 19th centuries, they were aristocratic buildings, and the basements, or the lower levels, housed the servants, the cooks, the kitchens, and so on. And they didn't flood then, so much more now. So I'm not too worried about that. If they feel that building down is a way, I would be more than surprised if the drainage wasn't a massive consideration. And in fact, if it isn't, I don't think the council would even approve it, because they will inspect, the health and safety people and buildings people here in England will inspect the building to see if it's fit for purpose. So drainage will definitely have to come into it. So we have to wait and see, but we should be encouraged that this arm of the project that we wanted so badly before starting the project looks to have been sealed. So we should be looking out for a very big part in this new Chelsea's future, and that's the new stadium, which is vital. It's absolutely vital. That's it. I don't know what DJ is saying here. Something about 2025. I can't really see it.
It says GJ is saying there that he read apparently it won't be available until 2025. This side we have bought. Anyone saw these two? I didn't see that, but if that's the case, then that's probably the reason why we're hearing that the club hasn't ruled out the possibility of moving, because 2025, that's like 2 years from now. To
Hmm.
me, we're there already. We're already 2024 is already upon us, in my opinion.
Exactly. I
Yeah.
mean, even if we move, building work isn't going to commence immediately. There's going to have to be
Mhm,
planning. There's going to have to be some sort of structuring in place. So we may not start proper building till 2025 anyway.
mhm,
So the fact that the final purchase would not take place till 2025, there will be. It's like when you buy a house, you go through different stages, and there's a stage in which it's more or less locked in terms of your mortgage and so on. Yeah, I've heard there's gazumping and all that can happen I mean, that can happen, but it's not likely in this sort of situation. So 2025 is not really that bad.
No, yeah, we're there already.
Yeah,
It goes like this. And God Frogs, we'll moved on from that topic. Let me just do you one more favor. It's not to say Sal Mudrik and Levi more spoke. Oh my goodness. And Omar Ishak saying, good day, coach. How was the break? It was good. But I hope you're doing well. Usman, thank you. Nice to see you join us, brother. Todd Boehly owns a large property portfolio. While the report may sound crazy, anything is still possible. Anything is still possible. We could still move to another location or find that the Stamford Bridge space and plus the space that they'd be paying for soon will suffice. Then there'll be no need to move because history matters. But Batista Power Station was the first option, the option that Roman considered. With it being so good, we are doing all these for an extra 10,000 seats. I think it would be more. I don't think we just do that for extra 10,000 seats, but still, that would be a lot. Coach, is it true that we still have Malangsar in the Bridge right now? I'm not sure. I haven't seen him train with the team, but he's still in our books. Let me just put it like that. We should stay at the Bridge and build a new stadium. The question is, they know the sort of stadium they want to build. One thing is certain, it will be a state-of-the-art stadium, but size-wise, that's where the problem lies. Let's see what else we have here. QPR, Bobby. Somebody's asking whether QPR would be a good option. I don't know the size of their stadium. I don't know. The new stadium is rumored to be 55.
Sorry to cut in, Coach.
Mm-hmm.
That is not a bad shout. Loftus Road, Shepherd's Bush is not far from Chelsea. In terms of proximity to where we are now, it's almost as good as Fulham, but you don't get any better than Fulham. But Loftus Road in itself is a small stadium as well. And I'm not sure relations between QPR and Chelsea. They're one of those people that look at themselves as our big rivals. And we don't look at them as a rival, but
so you think that would be an issue?
I don't know.
Because business relationship is a different thing altogether, and then the rivalry is on the pitch. But I don't know.
Business is a big issue thing. It depends on how much money. If Chelsea are looking there, because Loftus Road is not that big, but if Chelsea are looking there, it depends on how much money is on offer. But then you can't take away the fans' feelings. And they hate us. And, if the fans kick off about it, their ownership may have to think twice. It's about the Chelsea, it's like the Chelsea pitch owners. The issue of them relinquishing Stamford Bridge was an almighty issue. But, I think they surrendered to Battersea Power Station and they would surrender to Earls Court. But apart from those, because of their proximity to Stamford Bridge, anywhere else would have real problems. So I'm not sure the QPR fan base will take kindly to this, but it's a good idea. And
but
money
business is business. We're not going to be staying there for free.
Yeah, absolutely.
At least they're not in the Premier League right now. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean it's a good shout. I haven't heard that before. I know the stadium size will be an issue, because we underestimate how many fans we've got. We have a lot of fans, and then you've got to facilitate away fans as well. A lot of away fans come to watch Chelsea, so the size of where we're going to really matters. And QPR and Fulham, although they're good proximity, their size, I think, will be a big problem. And for that reason, I can see us most likely heading to Twickenham. In my opinion, I don't know. The big boys will put the money down where they think it's beneficial to them.
Yeah, thank you so much. I appreciate that, Bobby. Let's see. Chimera is saying the new stadium is rumored to be a 55K, not big enough. and a waste of investment. It has to be minimum 70K seats. Right now, everything we're hearing, the capacity of the stadium, because at this point, all rumors are no way to confirm the capacity, the size that the owners are looking to achieve. In fact, it will cost billions just to have that small increase. But my point is, who knows what they're looking. 1-1 Italy versus England. Bellingham won on the penalty and Kane dispatched. Okay, Bellingham, what a player. If we sold Gallagher,
I gotta
yeah.
say, I mean, it's not a definite. I don't know, but I don't see these guys spending all this money for a 55K stadium. It's not happening. It's going to be at least 60. Honestly, I can't see that. I just can't.
I don't
How
see
much
that
revenue
either.
is
It
that
just
going
doesn't
to
make
give you?
sense.
No, no. They'll want to optimize profits, and the minimum to optimize profits will be 60K for sure.
Yeah, I do agree with you. If we said this is a joke from the Bluetooth again, if we said Gallagher, we would need just we need another 30 million for the stadium. Just go away. Let's see the Bluetooth again. Yeah, he's a comedian indeed. It's strong in him. I'm just trying to look at things from a financial point of view. I love Gallagher and we'll miss him very much. Yeah, I get it. I know you don't like him one bit. And the Maya Forward, nice to see you. See why Maguire is playing. See Jackson injured and Palmer were finished. Who told you they're both injured? It's just making up stuff right now. Talking about 60,000 capacity without the thinking of people's safety. Emergency evacuation is a thing, right? Yeah. Compliance is needed. A safe holding, exit and emergency. All those things priority actually. Here's the thing. Those things, even before they start building, a plan will be approved. Just like a romance plan was taken out to the councillor, I don't know what term was used, and the mayor of London had to also approve it. They check whether you have those things in place. If not, it's not going to be approved. You're not building in a village; you're building in London. Just to be specific, most certainly those things will be checked in the plan. And if there are no, you could say. Should I say allotment for those things you mentioned, the plan will not be approved. I've been to Lobsters Road, it's decent. Let's see, the UK government wanted the Chinese money. That's why we lost Batista. Yeah, the Chinese company bought the power plant. If the six figures a man recommended less than 60K, then that's our reality, which is the point I am making. We need to be bigger than Sports and Arsenal. That's how I see it too. We have 2 stars and a gold badge. Yep. Big up to you too. I appreciate you. I'm fine, and I hope you're doing well too. I appreciate you finding the time to join. So let's move on. Let's see what else we have to address there. Nothing new. I think it still be something regarding this here. Is saying something that makes me believe that that Chelsea could still move. This is saying Chelsea executive Chris Jurasek is believed to be particularly interested in further exploring the idea of Chelsea leaving their traditional home. Sources outside Chelsea who deal with the club has also questioned the football knowledge of Jurasek, who has never worked in sports before, probably paying more attention to how much you can say the size of the stadium and how much more Chelsea can make from building a much bigger stadium. I don't think his footballing knowledge matters at this time. If you're into football, you'd prefer Chelsea staying because, you can say emotions. The fact that Stamford Bridge is a traditional home of Chelsea Football Club. And this says that Chelsea haven't yet decided whether to build a new 55,000-seater stadium or redevelop Stamford Bridge, and fan consultations and talks with the Chelsea pitch owners will play a key role in how they progress, whatever language you want. Board member Jonathan Goldstein is a key figure leading the project. I still understand that staying at the bridge is a preferred choice compared to Earls Court. That's the name I hate to try to pronounce all the time. And this one here, anything else? Chelsea, this says that Chelsea's aim is to build at least a 55,000 seat arena, but no decision has yet been made on whether to knock down and rebuild the current stadium or to relocate. Wembley Stadium, the London Stadium, and Twickenham. I don't know if I butchered that one. Are alternative options for relocation while being built. I don't know. To me, what I get from this, the aspect of what stadium we should move to temporarily. Temporarily, it's not something I'm too concerned about. Yeah. Anybody else has anything else to add to that before we call it a day? We'll try to take questions from those in the chat. If not, we'll call it a day. Coach, if we leave a Stamford Bridge, don't we lose the name? Yeah, I think I've heard that before. But it's business. Yeah, we lose the name Stamford Bridge. It's business for, you can say, for the new owners. If they feel like they do better moving to a new location, they would do it, even if it means losing the name Stamford Bridge. I don't think they will mind that. I think the biggest concern, are you talking about losing the name Chelsea? Yeah, I don't know. Bobby, can you educate us? What happens if Chelsea decide to move? There's an agreement in place with Chelsea pitch owners that if we move, would they lose the name Stamford Bridge or would they lose the name Chelsea? I don't remember what it was exactly. I know we've discussed that at length before, but I can't quite remember. Let's hear you, Bobby.
The pitch owners, more or less, to put it in simple terms, own the name Chelsea Football Club. And within their contract, they have attached it to the pitch. So if you leave that pitch, you don't have the rights to the name because the pitch is owned by the pitch owners, and that pitch is Chelsea Football Club. So if you leave that pitch without their permission, you will be forced to name yourself something else. You could call yourself Chelsea Athletic or Chelsea United, but you can't be Chelsea Football Club, which would be a terrible
Okay, it cannot
shame.
be Chelsea FC.
No, which would be a terrible shame and which would corrupt everything about the history of the club. However,
it's a branding. It's a branding. It will be a branding nightmare.
Yeah, it'll bring all sorts of issues. So, however, if the pitch owners say, okay, fine, I'm happy with this, you go and take the name with you with our blessing, then of course that's the ideal situation. Now, as far as I know, they had reached that agreement when the Battersea power station project was really gathering pace, and they reached that agreement when there was talks of an agreement of Earls Court gathering pace, that the pitch owners were prepared to allow the name change to be transpired to those sites, because at that time what they told Roman was that they wouldn't be happy to give the name Chelsea Football Club to anywhere that was outside of a 5-mile radius of the current location. Now, whether that is still the case, I don't know, because that was the agreement then, and now it would require another agreement. But that doesn't mean to say that can't happen, because a lot of the pitch owners are the same, and their attitude hasn't changed much. I mean, there are one or two extremely diehard old Chelsea fans that will rather blow up all of London than have Chelsea move within an inch of Stamford Bridge. I don't actually subscribe to that, to be honest. And you don't really get anyone loving Chelsea more than I do. But I'm not that rigid that I don't see the benefit of progress, even if, especially financial progress, and especially space, even if it means we leave Stamford Bridge, which is not my preferred option, I must add, at all. Mine is to stay at Stamford Bridge. But if we've got the opportunity to move to Earls Court, which is what? Just a stone throw. It is one tube station, if not max two. less than 5 miles from Stamford Bridge, I have no problem with that at all. I really don't. But there are those that will really kick off against it. We've got one guy that does um, uh, um, broad streams that I often join the panel, and I really like him, but he is so against this that anytime I mention it, he's quite ready to almost kick me off his panel. Yeah, he doesn't want to hear it at all. There are those, but I'm not one of those. I'm quite open, certainly to Earls Court. If it's, say, we're going up to Scotland or going to Manchester, then of course I'll have my huge reservations. But if it's Earls Court with all that space and capacity to expand, no, I'll get my blessing for sure. But
Yeah, thank you so much.
will
Go ahead.
Will the pitch owners agree now? I think they can be persuaded. You give them a good project and maybe give them some financial incentive, which I'm sure the new owners would do. I think they can be persuaded, certainly for Earls Court. It's just too good a piece of land to miss.
You just have to sell the project to them and make them understand it is for the good of the country, the club. I get it. The argument will always be the Stamford Bridge has always been the club's traditional home and all that. But they need convincing. All you have to do is just convince them. I think they will agree. Will it be easy? I don't think it will be. But if you show them you can actually move and go by the name Chelsea United, yeah, they will. So okay, let's talk. Coach Ifuli, Stamford Bridge. Yep, I think we've talked about that. And Debayo Markunju, always nice to see you, brother. I hope you're doing well. We will lose the name Chelsea. Yeah, I thought as much. I could tell I was listening to one sports channel. They are dreaming of Gallagher. Okay, let's see what happens. Whether the club will sell Gallagher to them. I heard Postecoglou is a big fan of his. Red Bull Chelsea, maybe. Eden's Gardens will be a good name for the pitch, maybe. Let's see. West London Road Runners. This says, terrible shame. If we change the name, the pitch owners needs to be considerate. The name will be useless. Let them find a way to sell it to them. Tapping Merchant FC. Yeah, exactly. Boehly's Blues, and anybody in the chat, if you have any questions or anything else to add, let's hear you. Otherwise, we will call it a day. I think it's been an excellent show, and that's interactive as ever. Young Blues FC, or maybe Dodgers FC, you never know. Let's see. This here says, I am hearing Boehly is also injured. Yeah, since injury is a thing at Chelsea. Carbon Clear Out FC, yeah, maybe. Fashat Andy Nguyam, nice to see you here on Chelsea Galaxy. Yeah, that's another name. Jude, anything else you want to add before we call it a day?
Yeah, thank you very much. Well, that stadium, I think about it a lot, and I think it's just gonna be a waste of time for us to get anything below 60,000 as in worst case scenario. But I actually really want us to do more than 60. Then the location, I agree with Bobby. It will be good for us to that as the place, wherever we'll use in the meantime while the construction will go on. Because we don't even know now if they want to remodel Stamford Bridge or they want to build something afresh. So if whatever they want to do, I think I would prefer us to stay within the West London axis, either the Fulham Stadium or the QPR Stadium. Those two stadiums are walkable distance from Stamford Bridge. For Twickenham, I think it's a little bit a distance compared to those other two I mentioned earlier. Then yeah, I really love the Olympic Stadium, but like Bobby said, the location is a no-no. That is it's at the heart of East London. So you don't want anytime we have a game and then it looks like we are playing away when we are at home. So but all those guys, QPR and Fulham, yeah, QPR somehow see themselves like a rival, but of course they are just little noisemakers. They know we are not their mates in any way. And the good thing is when we have Champions League fixtures, I like the way they come to rally, they rally and support us. But when it comes to the league game, they don't want us to win anything, but it's okay. So I prefer anything around the current axis. I'm not sure yet if it's complete remodeling of Stamford Bridge, but I think I really want a situation whereby we get our stadium off the hands of pitch owners, because it's a confusion. It's like you have money, you have a family, you bought a property, and somebody is still telling you you are not the complete owner of the house. Like I think we need to end that as soon as we can. About the name, I would not like the name. Well, this stadium name can change. It doesn't really matter to me, but I don't want the name of the football club to change. And
I
I
don't think the
think,
owners would want that either.
yeah,
Can
It
I
creates,
please,
yeah.
can I
Yeah,
please
go ahead, Bobby.
interject, please,
okay,
on very quickly on 2 points. The first thing is the issue of Twickenham. Twickenham, I get your point about Craven Cottage, which is Fulham Stadium, and to a lesser extent, Loftus Road. I wouldn't say it's actually walking distance, but it's pretty close to Stamford Bridge because it's in Shepherd's Bush, which is just the next more or less borough from Kensington, Kensington and Fulham. However, Twickenham, because of its location in Surrey, is quite accessible to our training ground. So there are benefits certainly for the team in Twickenham. I mean, I don't know, and of course it's a bigger space, a bigger capacity. Is it compatible with football in that you have rugby being played there one week messing up the turf and football the other? I have my doubts. And then this issue of the Chelsea pitch owners. Now, yes, I hear you. We're in a different era now, and it is time to consider their value to the club. But you see, once you've been traumatized, it's very difficult to trust. And the Chelsea pitch owners were the people that saved Chelsea. If you ever watched that program about called the Battle of the Bridge, which went through the history of Chelsea from the 70s right up to the present day, and the fact that people often, I mean, Ken Bates wasn't everybody's cup of tea. But one thing you can never take away from Ken Bates was the part of the history he played in saving this club. And of course, the pitch owners saved the club at a time where developers wanted to tear it to pieces and sell it off piece by piece. And these group of fans basically went and bought the pitch and laid the Chelsea flag to the mast, really, and said, "Well, you can't sell this place because whatever you do, you're going to be forced to do it all around us because we're going to hang on to this pitch." And so the sale of the club or the land, Stamford Bridge, to developers was put off because they just didn't fancy, oh, we're doing all this development and we got this lump of grass stuck there, preventing us going any further. So there's history there that's going to be pretty tough to relinquish. However, I'm sorry to take your slot talking and I'll shut up in a minute. However, Roman convinced them. Roman, who put the money where his mouth is and showed himself to be such a Chelsea person that he convinced them and they were quite happy to listen. And as I said, Earls Court and the power station were on the cusp of being allowed by the pitch owners. So it's going to take a good pitch from the new owners, which I think they're quite capable of doing, and a lot of assurances and evidence that the longevity of the history of Chelsea Football Club will remain before they even consider parting with that name. Sorry.
Yeah, go ahead. I think it's fine. Your excuses, excuse, I did ask him to please give you the space to interject.
Okay,
Yeah,
thank
go
you very
ahead,
much.
Jude.
So thanks for the enlightenment about the Battle of the Bridge, though. Yeah, and I think for now nobody's even really sure if what the owners want to do, because they said they acquire a place for £80 million, and with intention of building afresh. Some reports also say that they want to redo Stamford Bridge, so we don't even know what they want to do at the moment. But I think whatever they want to do, we should retain the name. And I think if we have to change the name Stamford Bridge, maybe it's not too bad. But then at the same time, let's take our pitch off the pitch owners. Let it belong to the football club completely. Thank you very much.
Sorry to cut in again. The issue of changing the name of the stadium, I don't think that arises, and I don't think that will be as resisted, because Stamford Bridge, yes, it is a landmark. Fans might say, okay, if you want to call it Stamford Bridge Allianz because they're coming in with some big sponsorship, so be it. So I think that will be easier, but it's the name Chelsea Football Club, all the branding, all the history that goes with that name. It's going to be a hard sell. And honestly, I wouldn't even want it changed. That's where development stops with me, because what are you developing? You take away the name of Chelsea Football Club and you don't have Chelsea Football Club. So that's the issue. And that's the issue with the pitch owners. And it's not insurmountable, but you've got to give them strong guarantees that this Chelsea Football Club name that they fought so hard to preserve in the 80s will not be easily relinquished should they give you those rights and you move away with it. So I'm for that. I don't want to see the club ever find itself in the position it was when it had to battle to survive in the 80s and early 90s. Sorry.
Go ahead, Jude. That's why we're here to interact and have a good conversation. Jude, are you still there?
I'm done.
All right, thank you so much for that. Let me see if there's anything else again in the chat. And this is the Bluetooth game. And if you're in the chat, if you have any questions, please shoot it there. We'll try to address it. There's no reason why the Chelsea pitch owners cannot be a part of Chelsea's future or move. To be specific, I'm sure that's why what you're referencing there as well as their past. They just need to sit around the table. Both parties actually need each other, have a good conversation, and let them sell the project to them. The reason why we're doing this, no matter how much you love Chelsea cannot function if it is not making enough money. It's about money. You pay players, you sign the best players, and stadium will help us. You can say get them more revenue so that we're okay financially. Clubs do go bankrupt, but Barcelona, they're in serious trouble right now. If you're following their situation, I get it that they're a big entity and can always make money from many sources. I think we just need to explain to them. And from what I'm hearing, it just seems as if most of them are legacy fans, and that's a huge problem. Kachila, we must have a serious discussion about many games we will win in our run of games during October. Yeah, we've talked about that, and we'll still talk about that too. I have a feeling there's a momentum building. Okay, good to hear. Win or lose. Okay, let's see. Badiashile back in training in the recent 30 minutes off the bench. That may well happen, but we're not too sure what the manager would do. Kachila, you have five in total, not six. The system to the right doesn't have three machines, but 3 screens with just 2. That's almost like a security room, but I can explain to you one by one what I do with each of the window, and it's all about the stream. Let's see. I am rooting for Italy to make a playoffs. Southgate needs to get sacked. Wow. Yep, Bobby. I remember that time. Saved Chelsea. I have a YouTube shot on that. How he saved Chelsea from oblivion with £1. He bought Chelsea for just £1, but also we have to remember he bought Chelsea with Chelsea's debt at the time. He had to pay those debt. But that's not easy. That is something we shouldn't forget. But that's fine. We keep dropping the likes on the stream, people. The likes that do go a long way. I appreciate you all finding the time to join. If you have any questions, drop it in the chat. We'll try to address the questions before we call it a day. Right now, we should actually be rounding up. But let's see if anybody has any questions. Joseph, yes, Joseph, or hand on, big up to you too, Mr. Joseph. I haven't seen you in a while. I hope you're doing well. But I totally understand. Bills don't pay themselves. I appreciate you finding the time to join us this evening. I think we've actually come to the natural end of the show. Nothing else to talk about except one more item that popped up here. This is saying, and I think I have a question for Bobby and Jude. This particular report here, it's conflicting. It says that the expectation at Chelsea is to see Romeo Lavia back on the pitch at the end of November. This is the idea, and I hope Chelsea remains 100% convinced of the investment they made. That is no question. He's a fine player. But here's where I have a problem here. That first part, we were told before that Romeo Lavia will return to full training come end of October, this particular month. And all of a sudden we're hearing that he suffered a setback and will be out for a further month, which means he'd come back in November. And he did put out this a tweet, which you could say disputing the reports that he suffered a setback, saying something to the effect of anything these days for clicks. But he deleted that particular tweet, or X, for lack of a better way to come across that X post maybe. So to me, something happened. You don't just tell us a player who was scheduled to return to full training by the end of October, all of a sudden will now come back by the end by November. Something happened. To me, that's a setback, in my opinion. But Bobby, let's hear you. It's not straightforward. Okay,
Sorry,
but go ahead.
I was trying to unmute. Yeah, I mean, I've heard this. I know what side I would like to. I am leaning towards being the Chelsea optimist that I am, and that's to the fact that it's a nonsense story. The sources I am leaning towards are those that say that if you speak with people that are close to the club and that are more in the know than the person that came out with that in his article, they are saying it's a nonsense, that the guy's fine, nothing's happened, that the club is still expecting to have him possibly fit in November. Now, is that true? Who knows? I won't pretend to have the gold standard answer to Romeo Lavia's situation. What I do remember Pochettino saying in his last post-match interview, or was it pre-match interview before the game against Burnley, he said, look, Lavia's not even running yet. And if that's the case in his injury, expecting him back even in November, it's ambitious. Because even if he starts running now, he's going to need conditioning, he's going to need a fitness build-up program, and that could take 4 weeks, depending, maybe more, depending on how quickly and pain-free that injury to his ankle is. So personally, I want to err on the side of those that think the story of him having a setback is nonsense, because he's already in a setback. It's going to take a while. And I'm thinking we're looking maybe December, maybe January, that we'll see him up and running. And the story mongers will do whatever they can within that context to create as much controversy as they can possibly think of. That's my personal opinion. That's my disclaimer to it, because I don't know all the inside facts of the situation, and I'm not sure many people, even those writing, do themselves.
Yep, thank you so much. I appreciate you. How about you, Jude? You have anything to say?
Yeah, in agreement with what Bobby just said, I think nobody knows the real truth yet. Unfortunately, there's no press conference for now that we can hear anything from the coach, because I had some report yesterday that said it's a rumor, it cannot be substantiated. But then if you check the bulk of the news outlet there, the ones that publish that he has setback are more. So I'm just confused over it because we have two different points of view about it. Some say it's not true, and then you say he deleted something from his Twitter handle. So
Yeah, he deleted that tweet where he kind of, you could say, disputed the report that he suffered a setback. So it just doesn't make sense. So probably something happened. Why would
yeah,
he delete that? If in fact it's all rumors that he didn't suffer a setback, then he shouldn't be deleting it. But go ahead.
that's true. Yeah. So for now, I just think maybe we should wait for more clarity on the issue. But I smell something fishy because you said he deleted his the comment.
Yeah, it's something really happened. He's not just saying. I know he's a talent. I'm not doubting that. But yeah, he suffered a setback, in my opinion. And yeah, beautiful game. Much love to you. And Joseph is saying he's recovering from a flu. Sorry to hear that. Stay strong and recover. We love you here, and always nice to see you. I think with that, we've come to the natural end of the show. Except if anybody on the panel has anything else to say, if not, we'll call it a day. It's been a very interesting show. A very interactive as usual. We keep it interactive here. So I want to say thank you to Joseph for finding the time to join. Hopefully you get better soon. And the beautiful game. Much love to you. I appreciate you finding the time to join in. DJ Soft, my bro, much love to you. Chimera, JC, and Namaya Fawale, and Andy Ngunyan, Jesse himself, everyone who was in the chat, Namaya Fawale. If I missed your name, let me see. And Ngunyan saying here, Romeo, Lavia, and Nkunku will be back in December. I think, yeah, that's the time. Even though we're told Lavia will be back in November, I think most likely it gets to December. I want to say thank you to Jude for finding the time to join us. I'm going to show you an example of what you have to write. So whenever you're on the panel here, I'll add your information in the description section. AB, who else was here? Chimera and Vic, all of you. If I miss your name, apologies. I'm only human. See you guys next time. God bless us all, and bye.